What is going on, Jet fans? Matt O'Leary back with another video. Today I want to talk about the New York Jets continuing to shake up things in the front office. So it's a little bit of a quiet time before minicamp for rookies begins, rookie minicamp on Friday. So looking forward to that, but wanted to talk about some news out of the Jets front office. Not necessarily the high ups of like Darren Muji and the general manager, but Kevin Murphy, who was the New York Jets assistant director of pro personnel, will not be returning to the team. So Murphy was a scout in 2018 before holding down the assistant director of pro scouting role from June 2019 through April of 2025. He has been here for a really long time and here through, honestly, a bunch of different regimes. He was brought in during Mike Maccagnan's time in 2018, was here for all of Joe Douglas, and then was here for at least the NFL draft in this year. And that's kind of what I wanted to go to next, is that the Jets had some holdovers from previous regimes because it's a really quick turnaround from when these guys are hired to the NFL draft. So I think we'll have a better idea on how much change is actually coming for the New York Jets in the front office and a little bit more behind the scenes over the next year or so as these roles begin to get filled and we hear of guys not coming. But this past draft, something to keep in mind is it was done with a lot of the people and the scouts who were already in place with the New York Jets. This is what needs to happen, in my opinion. And I don't like rooting for people to lose their jobs. It's not a nice thing. It really isn't. But with this team missing the playoffs for 15 straight years, they're at a point where they need to make changes. And there's been guys who were here in prominent roles for a really, really, really long time through multiple different regimes, through the entirety of this stretch of, unsuccessful football. And it's not just, okay, let's make changes at the GM and the head coach and think everything's going to be fine. No, that was part of my criticism of the New York Jets is I think they need wholesale changes, which it feels like this is the start of that. If you remember back in March, there was a report that the Jets offered buyouts to over 170 different employees throughout, all different kinds of operations of the team. And again, this is what needs to happen when you're trying to completely reset a culture, right? Think of it for, I'm trying to think of a good example in the real world. If you're joining a new job or you have this company that's not doing well and someone gets hired to get it back on track, Aaron Glenn, let's use as the example. Sometimes there's mass layoffs and they just are clearing people out. They're going to hire their own people and go a completely different direction. It stinks. I know a lot of people who've lost their jobs because of that and changes of ownership and who owns what and who has what stake. And that happens a lot in the real world. And again, it stinks because it impacts real people. But looking at this through the lens of trying to fix an organization, the Jets are a team that needs a lot of fixing. They have the longest active playoff drought in North American sports. They have not made the playoffs since 2010. That is 15 years ago now. So this is the kind of mass change that you need. And moving on from an assistant director of pro personnel is only the start, but there's going to continue to be news like this sprinkled throughout. So I can't, sit here and tell you today, oh, Kevin Murphy is responsible for this signing, or this is exactly what he did in this year. That's not what this video is about. It's more so to show that they are taking the change very seriously. And this is just yet another example of change that's happening in the organization right now. So this is this is the first time we've heard something in a little while. And we're going to continue to hear more things about the Jets making changes in their front office. Guys, let me know what you think about all these changes in the comments. I'm Matt O'Leary. Subscribe if you're new. I'll catch you next time.